back to Fun Comic Book. I'm the Fun Comic Book Guy, and today we are going to look at a comic book review for my past pull list, or should I say pull lists. I didn't get a chance to put out a video last week for a number of reasons, so I thought instead of getting a full review for the entire week of the 9th of February, I'll just do a quick highlight of some of the books from there, and then we'll get into books from February 16th, 2020. So, let's get started. Secret X-Men #1. Now, before I continue, I'm just going to alert that there will be spoilers for the week of the 9th and the 16th pull list, as is the case for all the reviews. So here in Secret X-Men #1, we're introduced to a new team that has kind of come together basically from a group that felt that they should have been or wanted to be picked for the main X-Men team. Here they're starting up their own team. You could see a number of characters from both previous X-Men teams, but also from X Factor as well. Overall, this was an okay book. I'm not really, I was never really big on cosmic X-Men, which is what this is dealing with. It's dealing with a kidnapping or missing persons case from the Shi'ar Empire. But it is overall a good introduction into the team. It's assembling the team together, and artwork was fairly good. Not my pick of the week, but something that I'm going to keep an eye on at least over the next couple of issues. Following that, we have Avengers #53. This is continuing on the same issues and timeline that we're dealing with, what I call Doom and the Doomettes coming through all the multiverses, arriving on 616 and starting to wreak havoc. Here we are focused on Namor, Valkyrie, and Black Panther being attacked by that group. Very good action, lots of cool new features and I guess armor skins for Black Panther that show up here. Really is leading up to what I believe will of course be the Avengers assembling to defeat a foe that no one hero can overcome. Overall, pretty solid book. I probably gave this one, I think, like a B+ or an A-. Still a very good book from that week. X Deaths of Wolverine #2. This is continuing on the storyline that had started in Inferno. We do see now that the Wolverine Warlock mix-up, I don't know what it is, it's kind of like Infinity Warps, is out and about, I guess searching for Moira, who's also being traced and attempted to be attacked by Mystique. Moira tries to, do anything she can to lose the trace against her. So she does something pretty horrific to get that done, but it was necessary. So it is leading up to hopefully some sort of conclusion as to how this is tying into Wolverine's storyline, and if this has anything of connection to the X Lives of Wolverine book. Overall, this was probably a B+. I'm still a little bit out of a loss and still a little perturbed by the fact that this is a continuation of the Inferno story where I would not have seen that coming. This book I had gotten because I was in my comic book shop and they were talking about Dungeons and Dragons, and I just thought, okay, I need to pick this one up then. Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons, a Meeseeks adventure. This is a one-shot, a great fun book, especially if you're fans of Rick and Morty and more specifically the Meeseeks. Essentially, it answers the question, what would happen if a Meeseeks box showed up in a Dungeons & Dragons world, had a quest that needed to be completed, and they didn't have the XP to do it. What would happen? What would that look like? Terror and hilarity ensue Meeseeks is desperate for XP and on a quest to complete what was asked of him by someone who actually is no longer around. So a little bit of a complex story there, but overall, a lot of fun. Basically, an A minus. It's just a fun romp, as is most of Rick and Morty. And finally, for the pick of the week from February 9th, 2022, Devil's Reign, book 4 of 6. This picks up a little bit after where we had left off in issue 3. Foggy apparently is able to speak and is doing better, but the heroes that we were hoping would be able to thwart Kingpin, we do find out that they had been captured in jail, but thank goodness that the book really gets us into a jailbreak, but it does leave us on a great cliffhanger as Kingpin is now found a mechanism to remember things he had forgotten, and without giving too much away, you might be able to figure out what that is at the very end. So lots going to happen in 5 and 6. All right, now we're going to get into a more full review from the February 16th pull list. And I'm going to start with Flash number 779. This concludes, I guess, the Eclipso arc, and also follows through with what is happening with Wally's kids and their new friend and who she is. So there's a number of reveals about some, who has superpowers, what they are, and one very interesting one that I wasn't even aware could have been a possibility is revealed at the end with Linda. Overall, we can see that Wally is going to figure out a way to defeat Eclipso, ruin the capability that he's trying to enforce upon the universe on getting everyone under his control. Overall, probably gave this book a low C grade, maybe like a C or C minus. It definitely didn't fail, but it's not a book that I'm continuing to be interested in. The first arc after Future State was pretty good, but I'm just not feeling the book right now, and I think next month will be the last month this book is on my pull list. We'll see if things change after the new Flashpoint comes out. Maybe I'll be picking this book up again, but unfortunately, I think I am going to be dropping this. Next up, X-Men number 8. As you can see from the cover, it's a MODOK storyline. It's basically just a single story, similar to what they've been doing for the past couple of issues with X-Men. It does continue on some of the subplot elements that we've been seeing before about Ben Urich's story, or now thwarted story, about the resurrection of X-Men, or immortal X-Men, we should say, as well as one of the wonderful things that this did is it actually brought back discussions around some of the X-Men's time in the Vault, which occurred in the previous series, I believe. That was an intense, and you would think would be a profound experience on X-23 and others, and now you see that it still has its lingering elements in there. MODOK is, again, similar to what was happening with Eclipso, trying to, taking over people's minds, causing chaos. It was okay, again, it's okay. It's a solid B or B plus book. Artwork was very good, but again, it was, a single shot, decent little storyline, keeping things going. At least then I feel that I have concluded a story and am able to, continue on and look for the next adventure. Green Lantern number 11, Last Stand on Oa. This feels like this is going to be the penultimate book in this arc, which has been going on now for just about a year. We do, of course, see Hal and others and the rest of the Justice League show up to assist in fighting off the big reveal, the big baddies and conspiracy that's behind the destruction of the Lantern on Oa, and the depowering of the rings, and all of the other stuff that we've seen before. We do see the return of Jon Stewart ascended and doing a crisis level battle with the baddies. It was really good. Kept you going throughout. There were a couple of things that you saw coming that you knew were going to need to have happen, because again, the stories are building up to those elements about gauntlets and their need. But it's going to come to a head now, and I'm really looking forward to issue 12. Solid, A- book. It was a little slow in some parts, but overall, I've been very pleased with how this series has picked up over the past couple of issues. Hulk, number 4, I believe. Yes, 4. I've always liked the Hulk. I like the Spaceship Hulk storyline. I like the fact that we have now brought the Hulk into the multiverse, and while I might be a little multiverse tired, this brings us to a multiverse where things are pretty interesting. You find out actually what happened to the rest of the heroes, and what's been going on with why there are no like X-Men or other superheroes in this universe. So again, just like the Green Lantern book before it, it basically starts off pretty action-packed and doesn't stop. There's just a couple of reveals as to what happened, a great 2-page spread of some of the background in those stories, and I thought that this book was just a whole lot of fun. Again, not a truly in-depth story. This is not going to be, I don't think, any key issue or anything like that. The lowest grade I would give this would be a B+. I'd probably give this about an A- as well. I'm really liking the storyline thus far, and I know that it is going to be limited, but I do want us to get back to sort of that original argument about what the Hulk may actually be, and whether or not it's actually protecting us from something far worse in Dr. Bruce Banner. X Lives of Wolverine number 3. This was probably, I think, one of my favorites out of now actually my favorite out of the 3 books for the X Lives of Wolverine. At least with this one, it is about Wolverine and his past personas and the lives he's led, and as Omega Red continues to try to attack and kill Charles Xavier, or is he now also just going after Wolverine? We do see that there are some ramifications in the timeline and some things that need to be addressed as Daken's very existence is brought into jeopardy during this. So really, really good book. I've been pleased with this. As I just mentioned a little while ago, I'm really hoping that this does tie into the X-Deaths of Wolverine storyline, but I'm not seeing how yet. Hopefully Benjamin Percy will be able to get that resolved. Again, another A to A- book, actually. This was actually quite a good book. And for a guy who's not huge on Wolverine, I'm glad I'm reading these stories. It is bringing back some memories of reading some of Wolverine origin stories and other things like that, but also giving us a little glimpse into Charles Xavier's ancestors. I will say that there is a scene in here where I'm just going to say Omega Whale. This one, yeah. Amazing Spider-Man 89, where we continue to see the wrath of the Goblin Queen. We do see that Spider-Man is coming back now. He's making his way out of the hospital, although albeit possibly, well, not possibly, with a little help. So is he ready for the task? We'll find out in the next couple of issues, but this is really just kind of arcing the where we left off, where Mary Jane was left basically with the Goblin Queen. We see a little bit about the early Goblin Queen experiments and what happened to the team members around her, which wasn't good. Overall, again, it was a B+ book. Would have liked to have seen a little bit more action with the Goblin Queen, but we are getting a little bit more in depth around what's happening to Peter in terms of his readiness, and this we find out he may not be completely ready, but he's gonna have to take up the mantle and do something because Ben Reilly isn't there. Now I love this book. What's the furthest place from here? Issue number 4. The team arrives at the carnival, and there's a lot going on here. Usually in the previous books, those of you who are reading it, or maybe even not, you'll just remind you now that things are broken up into chapters, not just the comics. So each book sometimes had anywhere from 5 to 6 chapters. Here I felt that it was a whole lot more. We do see some of what the teams are dealing with, the politics around the teams, but also one of the team members goes into a fun house about, the end. What caused this apocalypse that they're living in? And there's all these different ideas that are swirling around. And there's a little bit of this, metaphysical element to it about what could be causing this. There are still a dozen mysteries in this book. The biggest of which is what happened, and the second is who were the strangers, and is there more to this than just the fact that there are no more adults? There was, again, some political intrigue in here as well, as we see different factions starting to come to agreements at the carnival, that the carnival itself is something that is a little bit more malevolent than what you might think, although how many carnivals in comic books are just carnivals? This solid A was going to be my pick of the week, but didn't quite make it. I would have liked to have a little bit more of that scary, almost psychotic element that we saw in the last issue. But again, this series continues to be excellent, and can't wait for more from this story. But the pick of the week goes to Thor, number 22. Donny Cates has been doing a great job on Thor. The past couple of story arcs have been impressive. They have dealt some serious blows to the Thor mythos, the entire mythos surrounding Thor, and this book is no different. There's a lot that happens in here, some reveals, and a big change for a major character. And here I don't want to give the spoiler away, but there is a dynamic that seriously changes. We do see that there is the Hammer, Mjolnir, does give reasons as to why it is doing what it's doing, and why it's angry actually at Thor. But in order to defeat it, certain sins need to be addressed, and that leads to a major change. How well it's going to stick, I don't know, but this is going to be just like, again, in some of those other issues, these are going to be some special keys that I think will stick for a while. So, excellent writing, excellent pacing, artwork was great. We didn't go back and forth too often on minutiae and things that we didn't need to know about. There's like backstory elements that are just there for the sake of filler panels. We wanted to get to a conclusion in this book, and we got it. The book is, of course, not the conclusion itself. This is, I think, this is penultimate to the arc. But this is, if things stick, there are going to be major ramifications for Thor. Solid A book. Again, everyone's just been doing such a wonderful job on this book. And if you haven't been reading Thor, please try to grab some back issues or read this in trade. One of the best books that Marvel, I think, is putting out. All right, and that concludes the review from February 16th's pull list. I will be, of course, working on next week's pull list when the books do come out. Look forward to it, and I hope to see you back here looking at those reviews, as well as other things like Funkos, other comic discussions, and novels right here on Fun Comic Book. Please leave any comments in the comment sections about your picks of the week or your books, or even comments about my opinions. Doesn't matter. Let's have that conversation. But most of all, thank you for watching. If you do like what you see here, please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you again. Thank you.